Hello, everybody. Thanks for joining us. Happy to see you here who's having a great, wealthy, winning Wednesday today. Woohoo! All right, you ready to get started? All right, we have some attendees who are ready to go and hear about business plan. And for those of you who can't stay the whole time, you will be emailed a replay within 24 hours. So thanks for joining in, everybody, and welcome to another great Wednesday here with MBA Broker Consultants, helping your brokerage business not just play the game, but win and change the rules. Okay, so let's get started here, everybody. All right, we have 10 attendees listening so far. You can go ahead and type in the chat where you're from. Hello, everyone. Okay, and I am in California, right here on the coast. So we are in Pacific time, but I know others might be in other time zones, and so it's probably a little later there. So we'll give everybody a couple minutes. We did have 107 people pre-register, which is great. So those of you, again, who can't stay for the whole thing or you didn't make it, don't worry. We've got you covered with a replay. So we're going to go ahead and Tennessee. Oh, hi, Deborah from Tennessee. Valerie from North Texas. Shauna, San Francisco Bay Area. Hi, everybody. Karen, Taylor, California. Nice to see you. Anybody else? Okay, we're going to go ahead and get started with our slide presentation. I know everybody's eager and excited to hear about your business plan and all the other things that go along with it. So let's go ahead and get started. This is a session called Start Your Own Brokerage. We actually have 12 steps in this session. We're going to learn how to have the blueprints to build our empire profitably. So just picture your name on the front of your brokerage, right, as you're building this great empire. So last week we had step 1, and which was your vision and your exit plan. Now we have step 2, your business plan. Welcome to our MBA Mastermind. We want to say a special shout out and thanks to a few people. First of all, we have David, Mike, and Long with the Independent Broker Group, Indie Brokers, and they allowed us to go ahead and advertise, or should I say promote this in the group and invite people. And also Lab Coat Agents with Tristan and Nick and everybody there who's been very supportive and also allowed us to invite people from the Lab Coats group. So welcome, everybody. Thank you for joining us. Last week, we talked about how we're going to share Fortune 500 concepts without that big, giant MBA price tag, which could easily be $50,000. So we're going to, instead of spending all that money, all that time and effort, we're just going to distill down for you the most important parts. So let's get started. A little bit about our company, MBA Broker Consultants. We offer consulting, of course, for real estate brokerages. We also offer presentations, consultations for teams, also for realtor associations, or any other real estate related organizations, companies, or brokerages. So you'll find out a little more about us today as well. And again, this is our second step. We will have handouts available for you and an action plan. And again, we will be following up with an email of some really important links for you. So be sure to check your email within the next 24 hours. Okay. Oh, a little bit about me. I think probably everybody here knows me, but I earned my bachelor's degree in real estate last year from Ashford University. 2 years ago. And then last year went on to finish my MBA degree from Azusa Pacific University. So I've had my real estate license for 30 years. I own and operate a small brokerage called California Coast and Country Homes. I love writing and I've written a few real estate books, all in line with my mission, or my passion, I guess I should say, which is elevate the standards of professionalism in our real estate industry. So, blueprints. Who's ready to roll up their sleeves and get started? We're going to talk about your business plan, your office design, SWOT, systems, capacity to scale, and all those great things. So, Timothy King says hello from Little Rock, Arkansas. Hi, Timothy. So we do have an agenda for today. So the 6 topics that we're going to talk about that fall under the umbrella of a business plan are the SWOT assessment, the business plan itself, creating an org chart and putting your ideal team players in place, creating a capacity, systems to scale, your location of your company, and then the office floor plan and layout. So we're going to have a little fun today. Also have some polls for you, and we'll find out what everybody else is doing. How many of you have heard this? We discussed a little last week. A goal without a plan is just a wish. I call it a fantasy, right? We have all these great dreams of a big company and making a lot of money, helping a lot of people, having hundreds of agents. But how are we going to get there? It's great to have those goals, but we need to put in plan the steps to get there, because if we don't have the steps to get there, it'll never happen, right? We've heard the saying, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. So today's session is all about that planning that we need to then execute and put in place. So we're going to start with our SWOT. How many have heard of a SWOT? SWOT. And no, it's not like the police guys with a SWAT team. This is a business SWOT, which is one of our Fortune 500 concepts that we're learning. So anybody ever hear of the SWOT or use it in your business? Go ahead and comment. What a SWOT is, it helps us look internally at our company and also look externally at things we can't control that affect our company. So a SWOT matrix is based on both advantages and disadvantages. And it's based on things that happen internally and externally. So if we look at the upper left quadrant, that's our strengths. Our strengths are advantages that we have internally. Now, in the beginning of your brokerage, those strengths are based on, you individually and what you bring to the table. But as your company grows, those strengths will be based on the company overall and what types of things that they can bring to the table. In the upper right quadrant, we see the weaknesses. Those are the drawbacks, internal drawbacks. And again, in the beginning, those are based on you as a company owner because you're starting the company. But as your company grows and develops, you'll put systems in place, but you will notice some drawbacks and things that you're not skilled at, the areas you need to improve in. And those are your weaknesses. Now down to the bottom left quadrant, we see advantages, external advantages. Those are opportunities. Those are things that are happening in the market that we can leverage or take advantage of in order to help our company succeed. And then the drawbacks is the bottom right quadrant, which is external drawbacks, and those are threats. Those are things that are threatening to take away business or market share from our company. So let's talk a little more about that. So again, the strengths are resources and capabilities that fulfill the firm's important tasks. And we want to leverage those strengths to advance the company. Weaknesses are resource and capability deficiencies that make it difficult for the firm to complete important tasks. And those are things that constrain the company. Opportunities are external conditions that allow the company to achieve its vision using its core competencies. How do we know what the core competencies of our company are? Okay, so we're going to complete a SWOT assessment and find those opportunities. We want to harness those. And threats are environmental factors external to the company that can inhibit the company. So those are basically three categories. The first are general threats. That includes demographics, economics, global, and technical. And then we have industry threats, which are suppliers and buyers. And then also competitors are also threats. So what we have for you today, we have a worksheet, an activity worksheet we're going to share with you today. It's called Mastermind Step 2 Activity Worksheet. So everybody should see that there. Go ahead and download it. And you're going to see the SWOT assessment is the very first item. It's the very first page. So go ahead and take a look at that SWOT assessment. I'm just going to pull mine up here. And you can use this as your scratch pad, I guess you could call it, or take notes on. And go ahead and type in or write in some of your strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Okay. And if you don't know what they are right offhand, that's perfectly fine. You can feel free to call me or reach out to me, and I can help you fill this out if you're not sure what advantages your company has or disadvantages and that type of thing. But that's the first step that we need to complete our business plan. So now, when we talk about internal resources and capabilities, there's a few things we're talking about. So this might be able to help you dig a little deeper there. So tangible resources are things that you can see, like capital, right? Funding, equipment. Maybe you own your office. Those are all tangible resources. Intangible resources are maybe systems you've put in place. It says proprietary information, procedures you've developed, or knowledge that you have that your competitor doesn't. Human resources, in other words, who's on your team, that's a huge advantage. And we're going to talk about that more when we talk about our org chart. What about capabilities? So capabilities are integrated resources developed into core competencies. And your core competencies are what you have, what your company has that the competition does not. Things that you're skilled at that put you ahead of your competition, make you unique, different, or stand out, that differentiate you in that marketplace. So that's internally. So these are things you might have to think about a little. Now, let's talk about external, right? Which are the OT, the opportunities and threats. External are things that we cannot control. They're things coming at us or things happening, or it might be even a global economy that we don't have control over. However, by identifying those opportunities and threats, we can know how to respond, or maybe we can turn a threat into an opportunity by changing our business plan to leverage those threats and turn them into opportunities. Okay? Any questions? If so, just let me know. Okay, I don't see any questions here, so we're going to keep going here and talk about your business plan. So first question is, do you have a business plan? So if you have a business plan, we want you to answer A. Let me put the poll up. There we go. Poll. Do you have a business plan? Okay, so we have a poll up. If you have a business plan, it's recent, it's 100% complete, which is probably not many of us, including myself, because my business plan is always changing. It's always in the process. But if you're really ahead of the game, go ahead and mark A. If you are in the process of writing a business plan or you have one written, maybe you're revising it. Like I said, it's an ongoing process. That would be B. And if you don't have a business plan, you don't know where to start, and you haven't taken an attempt at it yet, that would be C. No, not yet, but I'd like to get started. Okay, we have so far 17% have a current business plan. Hooray for you. 50% have a business plan in the process of being written, and 33% do not yet have a business plan but want to get started. Now, for my business, MBA Broker Consultants, I wrote my business plan approximately 1 year ago. And the other day I was just thinking, wow, I've accomplished some of that, but I've done a lot of things that weren't even in my business plan I couldn't even dream of before I started my business. So I'm going to be revamping my business plan. I usually put aside time either between Thanksgiving and Christmas, usually right after Thanksgiving, because the office is quiet and the phone's not ringing, right? There's no emails popping up. Or the second time I like to do it is between Christmas and New Year's. There's a 1 week break in there. Not many people are working, and it's a great time to either put your business plan together or look at your finances, take an inventory of the company and your skills. All right, let's see what we have here. My business plan, 25% said it's recent and 100% complete. Woohoo! Good for you guys. 38% said it's in the process of being written, and 38% said it's not written yet but would like to get started. All right, we'll give you another 5 or 10 seconds here, and then we'll end the poll. So what is a business plan? A business plan is a way to share your story. Share it in writing and with graphs and illustrations. It's basically a roadmap. It's something that gets you from point A to point B, right? So a business plan can help you be focused on a direction. It can get you cash, right? Venture funding, loans. It can also help you with the hiring process of knowing who are the key players that you need to hire, and also perhaps sharing it with an advisor. A business plan is a great way to turn your plans into cash, right? Which is sort of vehicle to get from point A to point B. Now, not all of us are going for business funding, but at some point when we are, that business plan is going to be vital. We're going to go ahead and end the poll so everybody can see the results there. Okay. Timothy said, my business plan is always fluid, in motion, but the basics are fundamental. Awesome. That's how I feel, because I love writing. I'm always writing my business plan, but as soon as I write it, it seems like a new opportunity comes along that I couldn't anticipate. And so I take advantage of that, and then I have to go back and add that into my business plan. So I'm always folding in new things and deleting things that are no longer relevant. So awesome. Thank you for sharing that, Timothy. What is the purpose of your business plan? As we said, it's to have a clear vision, direction, guidance. It's also an accountability tool and helps you measure your brokerage, see how your business is doing compared to what you had planned for it to do, and help hold people to the standards that you expect, right? When you bring on partners to your company, what is the first thing they're going to say? Let me see your books. We want to know how much revenue you bring in. What's your net income? And number two, let's see your business plan, because your books just show us what's happened in the past. Your business plan is forward looking. It's showing us what's going to happen in the future. So partners will want to know that when you bring somebody on, or maybe a high level hire. What about when you sell your company? The best way to get maximum value is to not just show the past history, but to show the future of where your company is going and the potential it has. And that potential is also going to be key when you have funding sources coming in, which you can choose either an investor who's going to invest in your company. They're going to take some of that equity, or a loan, which is debt, which you're going to have to pay the loan servicing fees. So those are the two types of funding to consider, but both of those will want to see business plans for sure. And lastly, a business plan is a great way to test the feasibility or validity of your idea. Okay, any questions about business plans? For those of you that were listening earlier or on the Facebook invites that we had, I promised that I would share with you the 3 most important pieces that you need in your business plan to be a success and to get funding. So first, let's talk about the 9 sections of the business plan, and you can see the 3 most important. I've put an asterisk by, but the first is your vision. Where are you going? Where's the company going to end up? And part of that is your exit plan, which we discussed last week, your vision, your mission, your values, your goals. Next is personnel. So your personnel is you, of course. To start, you'll need your resume in here. And potential funders, if you go to a bank, are going to want to see your credit as well. So that includes your experience, your skills, your education, your past production, your track record. And then they're going to want to see resumes from the key personnel. So if you have partners, if you have high-level executives like the C-suite that you've brought on. Number 3, your goals. Where is the company heading? How is it going to get there? Are those goals measurable? How are you going to track them and adjust, which we'll talk about towards the end of the session today. Number 4 is your business model. What type of business model do you have as a brokerage? We know there are a variety out there. There are flat fee business models. There are discount business models. There are luxury business models. There are the type based on teams. So all of those need to be thought about when you're creating your business plan. Next is revenue and services. Why is this a key section that must be included? Because funders want to get paid back, right? If you have an SBA loan, say you get an SBA loan, Small Business Administration, for your company, and the lender is going to go in and take a look at your business plan, and they want to ensure that you're going to have enough business coming in, not just for ROI, return on their investment, but return of their investment, which is even more important. Say, for example, a lender loans you $100,000 for your business, and they're charging you 10%. So they want to see, where am I going to get my $10,000 in interest? But more importantly, am I going to get my original $100,000 that I invested? When am I going to get that back? So those are really important things to make sure that you have in your business plan. Again, it's number crunching. We'll talk about that more in just a minute. What about agent recruitment and retention? That's a critical piece to include in your business plan, isn't it? For us in sales, we know that agents are key to the success of our business. Why? Because they are the ones making the sales. Our agents are actually our clients, and they're going out and getting the clients. So that's a key part of your business plan. By the way, agent recruitment and retention is a topic that we will deal with in future weeks. We have an entire hour devoted to recruitment and retention, and I think you're going to love it. Number 7 is competition. Who are your competitors? What are they doing? Again, that's a future topic we'll deal with when we talk about strategy and competition. Number 8, your marketing strategy. What drives revenue? What drives income? Marketing, of course. So along with the potential sales, how are you going to get there? And that's what an investor will want to see. And lastly is the pro forma, which is your cash flow statement, which is the main item in the pro forma that investors will want to see. We'll talk about that next. So let's keep going here. So we have 2 types of business plans, the basic or the advanced. So a basic business plan is something pretty simple. You use it internally and it's more narrative. It doesn't have the financial things, or maybe not very many of the financial pieces. It's mostly a guidance for you and your staff internally, whereas the advanced could be used both internally and externally. And the advanced also can have a pro forma, which is the number crunching at the end. Let's go over all that now. Oh, and by the way, with our company, we can do these for you if you don't have a business plan yet, or you have one but haven't finished it. We'd be happy to help you do that. So we can help you with either basic, advanced, or advanced plus the pro forma. So what's included in the pro forma? Well, the first thing, of course, we said that all investors and bankers are going to look at is that cash flow statement. Where's the money coming from? Where is it going to? And how much of it is the company earning? So that's the most important document. The profit and loss, otherwise known as an income statement, is also a key supporting calculation that is going to be projected, again, like the cash flow statement, for 3 years. You also want a balance sheet. You also want to have sales projections from your revenue sources. And lastly, the ratios. There are 3 key ratios that should always be included in the pro forma. And if you work with us and we help you put your business plan together, we will teach you how to do each of those 3 ratios. So really important stuff. This is what I call the Fortune 500 pinnacle of success. And these are what the Fortune 500 companies do. So a sample business plan. For those of you who joined us today after our mastermind session, I'm going to go ahead and send you a business plan sample. It won't be a very full, complete sample. It'll be a very basic plan with some key points that you can look at. And for those of you who decide to go on and consult with us for a business plan, we will provide the full sample that I used for my business back in 2012 for California Coast and Country Homes. And that is, very lengthy, very comprehensive, and it's something that you could use as sort of a template for yourself, or that we can help show you and go over with you if you have any questions. Okay, so we have a poll here. Quick poll. What is the reason you do not yet have a business plan? Let's put our poll up. Now, I don't see it there, so create a poll. So the question is, why don't you have a biz plan? Okay, so the answers are A, too time consuming, and B is not good at writing. I know not everybody is or wants to. And then C is don't know how to start. Okay, so all right, go ahead and take a look at the poll and let us know why you do not yet have a business plan, which we already said most of us either do not have a business plan or our business plan is being modified and hasn't been completed. So if you don't have a business plan, go ahead and let us know. Is it not a good use of your time because you're busy spending your time working at your brokerage and every spare moment is already spoken for? You're recruiting agents, you're training agents, you're managing transactions, you're trying to work on your business and expand it. So that would be A. B is, hey, you're good at sales, you're good at coaching and training, you're good at running your business, you're good at math, but writing's not your thing. So that would be B. And C is, hey, I just don't know how to get started. Nobody's ever helped me. Nobody showed me. Maybe I didn't have a mentor and I just don't know how to start. So that would be C. Okay, our answers are so far A, too time consuming. B, we don't have any answers. C, don't know how to get started. Okay, we'll give you another minute to finish the poll here. And let's keep going. Let's talk about org charts. What is an org chart and what do you need in your business for one? Oh, we have a comment from Timothy. Many times it's not knowing the table of contents to include in the plan. So most people operate from a cash flow perspective. Oh, good. That's great. You shared that, Timothy. And I agree. Many of us were out there just trying to generate income and earn revenue. And we don't really have time to focus on the direction of the business and forecasting and budgeting and all of those things. So that's great. So you mentioned the table of contents, which everybody who attended today will be able to get a copy of a sample table of contents. So that'll be great. Hope that will help you a little bit. Okay, on the org chart, delegation of responsibilities. Now, as a small brokerage, you have yourself as a broker owner, and you may or may not have any managers. If you don't yet have any managers, this is a great delegation of responsibilities, is to start with a recruiting manager. Why? Because it's all about cash flow, revenue sources, and the more agents you recruit, right, the more production you're going to have, the more revenue. So recruiting manager is a great place to start in your management hiring. The second one is a training manager, and your training manager can also double as your recruiting manager. Your retention manager. So recruitment is great, but what do you do with those agents once you recruit them? Well, you have to train them, manage, and retain them. So the training manager will be responsible for taking those agents once they're recruited and making sure that they're producing, as well as offering things like agent evaluations, performance evaluations, goal setting, measuring and tracking their goals, keeping them on track, and helping them to perform at their peak level. And then lastly, we have a transaction manager, which of course is somebody who makes sure that each transaction is going as it's supposed to, that's actually closing, and that it's compliant. So those are the three managers that you should think about hiring as a small brokerage. Next, once you expand into a corporation, you'll have a board of directors. Your board of directors, you'll have a CEO, which is you again, and then you'll have a COO, a CFO, and a CMO, most likely. And then you'll have people under that as well. So your COO, what do they do? What are their responsibilities? The CEO stands for Chief Executive Officer. So that's the person who runs the entire company, and all of the C-level staff report to the CEO. So the C-level suite would include the Chief Operations Officer, also known as COO, The CFO, Chief Financial Officer, so that would be the person who oversees the finances. And CMO is Chief Marketing Officer, and that person is in charge of marketing and sales. And they would probably have directors under them in the ideal big company. This depends on how big you want to scale, but again, start thinking about who's on your dream team. Who would you love to see in these spots? Who are people who can take your business to the next level? Of course, they will require a high compensation level, so you definitely have to have the business plan and the production and the sales to support these people. Who's on your dream team? Woohoo! Now let's talk about the boards. You saw a couple slides ago, we had a board of directors that the CEO reports to. The board of directors is made up of major stakeholders in the business, and some of those will be investors. So when you have investors who come along, right, we love the Shark Tank. Those investors come along, they offer you a lot of money to help grow your business, but what do they want in return? A piece of your business. So they're going to have some equity, they're going to be major stakeholders, and they want to make sure the company's run correctly. So they will probably require a seat on your board of directors. You may have other people on your board of directors as well. They typically are compensated, and that's something to think about in your business plan and in your pro forma. Compared to, on the other hand, we have a board of advisors. Those folks are your mentors, your consultants, people that you turn to for help and direction in setting up your business, people to whom you can be accountable in the direction of your business and the performance of it. These are trusted advisors, right? So this is more of an informal position, and they generally aren't compensated. However, it's typically good business practice to give them a small stock option or offer them a small piece of equity in your company for their time and effort that they put in. And there might be other things involved in that as well. So any questions about board of directors versus board of advisors? Again, this is a Fortune 500 concept that we don't often see in real estate businesses, especially brokerages. But this is something that if we're going to go to the next level, we're learning about all these things to bring in to help our business elevate to the next level, right? We're building that solid foundation for the future. And lastly, who are the stockholders? Stockholders are people who own shares or stock in the company, and therefore they are part owners of the company. Now, if you go to the New York Stock Exchange, you're going to see, for any company you look up, you'll see, what the stock is worth and things like that. And you can actually own stock. Those are publicly traded companies, but there are also privately held companies where the stock is not for sale on the stock exchange. So which company will you have? And there are pros and cons of each. It's sort of beyond the scope of today's mastermind session to discuss that, because that could be a topic in and of itself. But the main thing I would say is that you should invest in yourself. Where do you start? Start with investing in yourself and your business. When you see those business owners and inventors and entrepreneurs and they get on Shark Tank, one of the questions the sharks ask them is, how much have you invested in your business? Right? We want to see that you're vested, that you've given your time, your effort, and most importantly, your capital. So if you believe in your dreams, start by investing in yourself. Generally, you are your first, shareholder or stockholder in the company, and you might own 100% of your shares until such time as you bring partners on, if you choose to do so. Next, let's talk about creating capacity and systems to scale. So what does that mean? Capacity is how much business your brokerage can handle. Are you really prepared for expansion? For example, say what happens if you've been working on some REO accounts, you've been applying, and you got some great contacts. Now all of a sudden you got your first REO account. Woohoo, that's awesome. But you need to have some capacity to be able to fulfill that. To service REO accounts, you generally have to have some capital funding. You need to have agents that can help you with that, right? And you need to have systems and be prepared for that. What if you go and, talk to a business and you get some B2B accounts? Maybe a relocation company is going to hire your brokerage. So are you prepared for massive expansion? Because you're only as strong as your weakest link. Now, I think of an example of everybody's favorite restaurant. You go there, it's a hamburger stand. There's people waiting in line. There's people eating hamburgers. And you order your hamburger, and then you come to find out it's a 30-minute wait to receive your food. Why is that? It's because they only have one griddle operating in the back of the restaurant. So they have lots of seating, lots of servers and staff. They have lots of food, refrigerators full of food. They have lots of cooks, but only one person can cook at a time because there's only one griddle. So they're making hamburgers one by one. So the capacity of that entire restaurant is limited to one at a time because that was their weakest link. So capacity and scaling starts with looking at what are the systems that we set up. Let's talk about that now. A system stands for save yourself stress, time, energy, money, right? We talked about that last week. So a system is something that you put in place. It automates your business so that it can continue to run on autopilot with the minimal amount of manual effort. And this picture looks like somebody didn't use a system and didn't have such good results, right? System, what can you systematize? Constantly thinking about that. Who loves the E-Myth books? Right? We talked about last week the E-Myth for real estate brokerages. Great place to start with systems. Now, how do you know if you have systems and if they're in place, if they're working? How do you know if you have the capacity to scale? How do you even measure performance? So you're going to have to discover the ideal formula to rev up your company, and it's based on tracking, measuring, comparing, and adjusting. So you track and compare metrics, analytics, statistics for your company. And then you're going to take your company and compare it to what your competitors are doing. Those are called industry benchmarks. Again, another great Fortune 500 concept. And once you find out how you are doing or your brokerage is doing compared to others, now you can adjust. You can fine tune it to see, am I on track to where we need to go? Or is there something that we need to do to get back on track? Or are we exceeding our goals, which would be best case scenario, right? And again, this topic will be covered in step 7. All righty. Who's ready to talk about company location? Woohoo! All right, let's keep going here. Last week we said build your empire on a solid foundation, and the best way to do that is literally the foundation of your company, the office. Where are you located and why? So we have another little poll for you here. Our poll question is, what is your primary consideration in selecting an office location? And all right, so go ahead and take the poll there. Is it affordable cost? Is that why you chose your office location? Is it demographics and foot traffic, which of course requires some research, which we'll talk about next? What about proximity to your home? Yes, and somebody's already answered that. Proximity to your home. Amazingly enough, I asked this question in the Facebook groups. Proximity to your home was not one of the answers, but that was a frequent answer that a lot of us gave. Why? Because we're going to be spending a lot of time there. So if we're spending a lot of time at the office, obviously we want to be close because we're going to be going back and forth, and we want to spend the minimum amount of time commuting in traffic, right? So affordable cost, demographics, foot traffic, pick your choice. We'll give you another minute for that. Your primary consideration in selecting an office location, or some of us may have several offices. We have offices in multiple places around our region or city, maybe multiple cities, maybe throughout the state, or maybe even another state. So, all right, we're going to go ahead and end the poll. Quick. If you didn't answer, it's your opportunity now. Oh, okay, we said 25% affordable, 25% demographics, and 3% proximity. All righty. That's our final answer. Everybody having fun yet? I love this stuff. Who loves talking about business? The business of business strategies. So we said, how are you going to decide where your office is located? This is something called density class. So density class number 1 is super urban, 8,000 households per square mile, all the way down to number 7, which is density class 7, which is rural, which is 0 to 99 households per square mile. Well, for most of us, we can probably exclude, 6 and 7. You wouldn't want a real estate brokerage there because it's probably not going to be very profitable. Why? There's just not enough people that live in the area to be successful. Not just buyers and sellers, but your agents. Where you're getting your agents from? They're from the neighborhood, right? So depending on what type of brokerage you're looking for, you would look in one of these density classes 1 through 5. Most likely, I would say 1 through 4 would be a successful brokerage. Okay. Any questions about density class? Now, what do you consider when you're locating your brokerage? First is what? Demographics. Demographics are the people who live in the area. How many? What is their income source? Are they college educated? Do they own their homes? And that's going to be crucial for you. Next is the residential market. What are the trends? Are people moving in, moving out? Number 3 is geographic area. Why is this a good geographic area for you? And risk and legal. I have some more questions. Hang on. Geographic area. Okay, that would include things like schools, businesses, transportation, hospitals, shopping, recreation, restaurants, and views. Is it an area that's viewed as maybe a resort area, or is it a suburban working class area? Based on where you locate geographically will determine who your clients are going to be, who your agents will be, and who their clients, buyers and sellers, will be, right? Okay, risk and legal. That includes taxes, the political climate. How risky is it in the area legally and politically? Those are things to think about. What is a future expansion of the city? What is their master building plan? What about the zoning? And last but not least, those are our competitors. Now, how many of us would love to be located right across the street from our competitors? How many of us would like to be located far away from our competitors? Okay, there are pros and cons of each, but I would encourage you not to be afraid of competitors. And since you've done your research on them and you know about them, maybe you do want to be located nearby. As we know, you go downtown and there's a bank on every corner. Why do banks locate near each other instead of in remote locations? There's a good reason why. Same thing with coffee shops. Or if you look at buying a car, many times the car shops are located next to each other. Okay, so think about that, and that's something to give a little deeper dive into. Do you want to lease or own your office? Well, there's a lot of things that go into this decision. The primary consideration is, do you have capital funding available and credit worthiness to be able to own? If not, owning is not an option at this time, but it's something to think about for the future. Something you probably want to put in your business plan as you explore different geographic locations. Leasing is a great way, just like when you move to a new neighborhood or a new city, you want to rent for a little while, sort of test the neighborhood. So leasing is a great way to test the demand before committing to owning. And also, does the location give you the ability to expand or grow your business? So depending on where you're looking at, you might not have the option to own. For example, if you want to be in a major shopping center, most likely leasing is going to be your only option. So if you want to learn steps on how to lease an office, I do have a podcast available for you. There's no charge. I will send the link in at the end here. I could probably even put it in the little thing here. But it's actually an online course that I recorded some years ago, and I just sort of repurposed it, turned it into a podcast. It's called How to Lease a Commercial Business. So let me see if I can find it right now, and I'll just put it in there for you. My podcast. Okay. So I found it here. It's on a site. It's on Podbean. So I'm going to go ahead and just stick it in there right now. Okay, so I just put the link in there, and I'll go ahead and put in the sticky message up at the top as well. That's mbabrokers.podbean.com, and it's free. There's no obligation. You don't even have to put your email in, but it's a great listen to figure out what are the things that you need to do to prepare to lease an office, or if you're going to be moving, how can you negotiate the best deal for yourself? Okay. Also, let's talk about an office on a budget. Many of us are just starting out, which is great. So there are some co-working and sharing of spaces available. Also, there's flex office. There are offices where you can lease an office within an office. Regus is great for those. If you like co-working space, WeWork is a great flexible office sharing. And that's available in metro areas. Unfortunately, it's not in all areas, but it is in most major metropolitan cities. And that's a great place to check out as well. I'll send you more information about that, in our follow-up email. Now, last topic, office floor plan and layout. What is the office floor plan and layout? Well, it's literally how you customize your space. Some of us have the opportunity to start from scratch and build out our office space brand new. And if you do, what would be your ideal space? What would you include in there? If you go to the handout that you downloaded, the last page, page 3, has an office layout and floor plan. It's sort of a blank slate, and underneath there, you can sketch your designated areas that you would love to include in there: reception area, kitchen, property management office. But let's focus on the 3 things that some of your fellow real estate brokerages are doing. That's sort of a modern trend, and that's something you would like to have. Now, we do see a trend of open office space, which is great. It looks wonderful, but the feedback on that has been that it's hard to make phone calls in the open space. So one of the hot trends is having a private phone call area. And I know a couple of brokers have done just a little area, sort of like a little phone booth. You can go in, do your lead generation, and it's nice and quiet and private, and you don't have to have all that space devoted to private office. Also, another hot trend is a training room or a meeting room that's completely equipped with all the latest video recording equipment. And that is, again, a trend, having a video recording room with a green screen and all set up for people to be able to do videos. So 3 hot topics, and again, check your notes for that. This is an example of a floor plan layout. You could do something like this, or you could customize it from scratch. Some of it depends on how much capital you have to go into converting the existing space there, right? Last week we said synergy is created by leveraging your strengths, skills, and systems. So how do you do that? You do that by investing in yourself. So today's recommendation, the top 3 books are The E-Myth for Real Estate Brokerage by Michael Gerber, Successful Business Plan, and that's endorsed by Inc. and Forbes. And then we have Anatomy of a Business Plan by Linda Pinson. Those are 3 great reads or listens, as if you do like me on Audible and you listen in the car as you're traveling or exercising or whatever you're doing. So I highly recommend getting these. They will definitely help you with the concept and with distilling that concept down in writing, putting everything down into an easy to read format for the banker, whoever is going to invest in your company, or for yourself. So we do have a free gift for you. We will be sending you a business plan outline, as I mentioned before, and we'll give you some of the key areas to look for in your business plan. This was the second of the 12 steps to build your brokerage empire. And we hope you enjoyed today learning about those Fortune 500 concepts without the MBA degree price tag. And if there are any questions, please let me know. So we have an offer for today. Earlier, I mentioned that we can help you with your business plan. So we have 3 options to help you. The first is basic. So in the basic business plan, it's $1,000. And what we'll do is we will work with you to put everything from a template into a nice readable narrative that can really help you. And again, it's really just for internal use and guidance of your company. For $2,500, we will write an advanced business plan for you. And that's going to include things like that all important cash flow statement. We talked about your sales projections will be in there, right? All the major sections that you need will be in a custom business plan. And we also have the advanced plus the pro forma. So that includes your income statement. That includes your balance sheet. That includes your ratios. So all of that is in the advanced plus pro forma. So that's going to be $5,000. So any of these 3 are great options. We would love to help you. We want to help your business start on a solid foundation, succeed, make a lot of money, retire rich, serve a lot of people, and have happy agents. So any questions? Okay, Michaela said, thank you. You're welcome. Glad to help everybody here today. And any questions on starting your brokerage? Timothy says, thank you. Excellent hour, excellent information. You are welcome. It's my pleasure to help all of us brokerages succeed. And I'm glad that this information can be useful in helping you grow your business and succeed. We do have another session we're going to be scheduling for next year called Drive Profits to the Max. Real estate brokerage is revving up and pushing the needle. That's a little more advanced concept than this one. And then we also have Be the Boss and Dominate Your Market. So this is all about brainstorming, and we go through a specific process to learn how to innovate, differentiate, and capture unique market share with the Blue Ocean Strategy System. Again, we do offer brokerage owner consultations for seasoned brokerages, aspiring brokerages starting up, And for those who maybe just want to do something different, innovate, or rev up their market share. You can feel free to reach out and contact me at any time, Regina, MBABrokerConsultants.com. And there's my phone number on there, website. And of course, all of you probably are friends with me on social media. So feel free to reach out, Facebook, Active Ring, LinkedIn. I'm on all of those. So this concludes our session of Start Your Own Brokerage Blueprints to Build Your Empire Profitably, and Step 2, your Step 2 business plan. So any questions? Okay, Karen said, thank you. Excellent information. Looking forward to more classes. You are welcome. Keep going, Karen. Keep being successful with your brokerage. Ingrid Chavez says, thank you. You are welcome. I'm glad everybody enjoyed the session today. Again, you will be emailed a replay along with some bonus materials we talked about. I hope everyone had the opportunity to download the activity workbooks and work through those. And let's make it a great week. Happy, wealthy, winning Wednesday, everybody. Woohoo! All right. Bye. See you later. Have a great week.